Welcome back to the Changing Earth podcast with author Sarah F. Hathaway and co-host Chen Gibson. Blending survival, fiction, and fact to bring you entertaining education that will help you dream, survive, and thrive. And now, here's your host, Sarah F. Hathaway and Chen Gibson.
Hello, and welcome back to the Changing Earth podcast. This is episode number 358. Hey, Chen, what's up?
Hey, wait, I'm trying to stay focused here. Chin's up, y'all.
I'm working. Chin's like, back, stay focused. I'm like,
it's like, also, we looked up at the clock. It's like, oh, time to go live.
I'm like, ooh, new membership request. All right, let's go over there. Back. And you can become a member at www.changingearthseries.com. That just felt very natural to throw that in there. Hey, everybody.
The show of commercials.
Yeah. Well, you got to slip it in where you can. The Changing Earth members are on episode number 5, which is airing today over there for the members, commercial free. So, they get the little step ahead on everyone over there.
Yeah, but they get to miss out on all the hosts talking about their stuff.
That's true. The current one, but they listened to it a couple weeks ago.
I like to match up the people with the characters when I listen to the commercials. It's like a drinking game.
Episode 4, if you can believe this, we're already a quarter of the way in. I'm like, It took me so long to make these things. I'm going back to novel writing.
It's like Thanksgiving dinner, right?
Right? Yeah.
It takes you like 2 days to cook it.
Yeah.
Gone in 30 minutes.
Exactly. Like, it took me, over a year to put this all together, and they're just whipping by. I'm actually, I told you, little pregame baseball. I'm working, episode 6 is 2 scenes, or 16 is 2 scenes from being done, and the whole project is completed. So, yay! Champagne for Sarah. No, I'm going back to writing my books, man. I can do those in like 3 months. Everybody's like, where's the next one? Where's the next one? Where's the next one? So, yeah. All right. We got the chat room just lighting up tonight. Hello, everyone over there in chat. Happy to have you with us.
Garden girls in there?
Yeah.
Yep.
Hope you got a chance to listen to the show today. It's one of my favorites, actually, for a few reasons. Of course, there's always very serious things happening. And usually if you have a really good moment in my stories, that means that an inevitable cataclysm is to come. So Vergis kind of got saddled with that in his story this time around. But we'll get down that road. I'm trying to think about our upcoming schedule on do we have any major events going? We're going to be planning a binge day eventually soon. I was thinking of doing them every 4 episodes, but they're kind of large to put together. So we might just have to do super binge day where it's 2 hours. You're listening to 4 hours of the audio drama on those days. So I wouldn't be able to have the recordings of the live shows because the recording thing, I don't think it won't save them if the show's that long. So we'll play with that, see what we got going on. But yeah, that's kind of where we're at right now. Some exciting news on my front, but I won't be able to share it with you guys for a while. So there's your little teaser.
That's cruel.
I know. I didn't. Chin doesn't even know what I'm talking about because I I always explain it's kind of like if you're an alcoholic and you quit drinking. And, you never know if you're really going to go back to it or not. So you don't tell a lot of people about it, And that's kind of how it is with Hollywood and all that. So, we'll just keep saying prayers for me, guys. I appreciate it. Let's manifest some positive energy in that direction. So, all right. Let's jump into the show because we have some really cool Changing Earth stuff going on, too. Cool show. Cool Changing Earth stuff. So we listened to episode 4. It's called Not Tonight. And Erica wakes up to this brand new sunrise. I love the song that plays during that one. I would sing all the songs to you guys, but I don't think you want to hear my
We don't want to lose our listenership.
Yeah, exactly. I'm just always jamming along. You can check it out over on the audio drama. I made the audio drama playlist. So if you're really digging any of the songs there, you can go listen to them on the playlist. And then you can also download all of the music. So like go find it over on the playlist and then go over to Free Music Archives. You can download the songs there and then have your own playlist as well. If you want the song, like you're like, oh, I really want to listen to that song over and over. That's where I get all my music from. They are epic. So check that out for sure.
You're just trying to give people stuff to listen to so they don't keep harassing you for the next episode.
Yeah. Keep you busy for a while. Oh, I know. When I go back to prepper camp, that's all I'm going to hear. Where's your next book? When's your next book? Because I get that all the time. So I'll be working on that. Now that I'm bringing a halt to the audio drama, well, you know, that we're finishing up this season. A future season, I don't know. We're going to have to see how things go and see how upset everybody is at the end of the season with where it ends off, because that always happens to me at the end of my books, too. They're like, what? You can't end it there. But, yeah, we'll see. We'll see how that goes. It was a lot of work. So if any of you guys are like really into audio editing, that kind of thing, and you have free time, I could teach you how to do everything. And yeah, I would definitely love some help on those. Everybody volunteers. It's not like I make anything off of it, you know. So it was a huge time commitment. And we'll just have to see how the next... I've already cut down the characters for the next script anyway, because that was a little massive. So... yeah, I can't agree more. Like being able to hear the voices in the audio drama really puts, you know, and then if you come to prepper camp, you get to meet most of us. Most of us are there at prepper camp. So now you get a face, a voice, and then the connection to the characters in the books.
And they're all a ball to hang out with. So.
Oh, yeah.
I mean,
for sure.
It's a blast.
Yeah. So exciting stuff. All right, let's jump into the story. So Erica, she wakes up. We got the sunrise song. California is gone, folks. It has fallen into the ocean. And it really just begs to ask, like, how fast can climate change happen? We know that the planets used to be, or the continents used to be one mass, that they separated. How fast does this kind of thing happen? Obviously, they're not, like, separating in super speed or anything, we hope. But, you know, geologists are always like, well, it takes millions and millions of years. Yet we have mammoths that were frozen with the food they were eating still in their mouth. Coastal redwoods that only thrive in, you know, inland areas. Now they got dropped instantly to the coast and they're petrified there because they couldn't survive. We have cities that were, you know, one time on the coastline that we find in the water completely destroyed and swallowed by, you know, water coming up from the ocean. And then evidence of massive floods that took place on our planet, like Pumapunku. It's the H structures. They're these huge rocks. There's no way they could just be strewn about like they were just pushed over in the wind, unless it was a serious flooding event. So it just really begs to like question, is it always this really long time period that they talk about? I don't know. It's just there. That's where I go exploring. So trust your instincts. Erica, like, she didn't know what was coming, right? But she just had this instinct, like, we need to get out of here. And I've been studying a lot of like psychic premonition type material lately. And William Shatner did a show that's pretty cool. Like, it's called like it's not Unexplained Mysteries, because wasn't that an old TV show? Anyway, look up like William Shatner's new like Unexplained Mysteries or something of that nature. Really interesting stuff. And one of the stories talks about how a lot of people dreamed of being in a plane or a bus accident before the 9/11 event. So are there like universal kind of ripples that we can pick up on if we're, you know, if we like listen to our instincts? I don't know. It's just a question that's out there. But many of the people that died in 9/11, their relatives have come forward and you know, said that they had this dream before it happened. And that I found that really, really interesting. That something like that would happen before a huge event like that. All right, Swenson's chapter. So Swenson returns home with this knife wound in his belly because he was stabbed. I love the stab scene, though. He's like, you don't understand. I love the pain. You're like, you just stab somebody with a knife and they're just stepping into you. You're like, uh-oh.
Yeah, that's not how I planned it.
Right? So with knife wounds, I've done shows on this before. You can definitely go back and check out the medical information that's in the survival learning tab. But knife wounds, what I always worry about is like, where was that knife before it was in you? Right? Like, you never know what was happening or like what, So serious risk of infection comes with knife wounds. And one thing that every medical professional I've talked to says about infection is to outline the redness of that wound in pen. And and that way you can watch if it grows or not.
You do that with a lot of stuff, right? Like bites and stuff too.
Tick, like if you've had a tick in you, over 24 hours is not good, so you need to really watch that redness. And if it grows, like it's going to grow a little, but it shouldn't be out of control, like grow. So watch it really carefully. And then having your medics, having your antibiotics on hand is key. And it just so happens that I got my Jace case delivered this week. I haven't opened it up because I need to do a video for it, and my hair is just a mess today.
Call hair and makeup.
Yes, call hair and makeup, because Sarah was not doing it today. So, but let's go ahead and learn a little bit about the Jace case.
Fish mocks. Fish docks. For the longest time, preppers have been looking for an answer for antibiotics in a disaster or emergency. In 2020, we watched the supply chain fall apart. When I met the team at Jace Medical, they explained to me how they can put a prescription of backup antibiotics into your hands. The Jace case is 5 different types of antibiotics. Unlimited physician follow-up for any questions relating to the use of these antibiotics, and a written emergency antibiotic guide that is authored by a board-certified physician. This is the antibiotic solution preppers have been waiting for. Go to jacemedical.com and check out the Jace case. Use the promo code PBN10 and you'll get $10 off your Jace case. All right, take your medical preparedness to the next level. Go to jacemedical.com and use promo code PBN10 for $10 off.
All right, Intrepid Commander telling us all about the Jace case, which is epically awesome because, like, your only option is fish antibiotics, and then, like, how much of that do you take? And it's always a question. And honestly, I didn't just really feel very comfortable with that option. So, I'm really, really happy to have this option. And everything's produced in the United States,
which is nice.
Which is even better. So support our local U.S. businesses because, like, we've seen the supply chain disruptions, like Intrepid Commander said, right? And we don't want to be reliant on other countries for the medications that our people here in the United States need. So, yeah, The Unexplained with William Shatner. Thank you very much, Chad.
Always working in the background.
Yeah, love that. I've been watching that show lately, and just different topics, different unexplained little mysteries and things like that. And very cool stuff on psychic abilities and whatnot. And they look at it from tons of different angles, very scientifically to, like, kind of out there where you're like, whoa, really? Okay. So, all right, so Vergis's chapter, the first one, Act 1, Scene 3. Oh my gosh, love the Monroe Ginger, how that came together. And for all of you listening, Ginger is actually played by my mom, which is totally awesome, if you can believe that. She was like, I want to do a voice. I'm like, no, you don't. She's like, yeah. So I love having the voices of my loved ones forever recorded. It's really special if you can get a loved one to sit down with you and do a recording of their voice, because you can always go back, and then hear them. And that's something really, really special. So, one of the things about my podcast, I've created like hours and hours and hours of Sarah's opinions and whatnot for my kids to listen to. So, really neat thing if you can get a loved one to sit down and do that with you. So anyway, Ginger is my mom. And then Monroe, of course, the intrepid commander. And my idea for this scene came from James Yeager, because he would talk about going overseas, and if you eat the food, well, their water that's used in the cooking is not always purified. And then if you get the runs when you're out trying to move an asset from A to B, I mean, there's not much option for you, right? So I decided to make it into this story so that we could all have a lesson on why you need to purify that water, why it's so important. Even when you're cooking, make sure it's clean. And then I just updated my Alexa Pure. I got the metal spigot and everything for it.
Yep.
Because that hardware is not going to wear out, like the plastic. So, and I was talking to my son about it, and we were talking about how the Alexa Pure, even the container system, you could put the mediums in there and then use that as a filter if you had to. If your filter, years down the line, you don't have filters anymore, right? Unless you're Chin and you stocked like 80 billion of them. No, I'm kidding. So,
it was on sale. I bought some.
I know. I'm going to be looking for the sale myself. Trust me. I got a couple extra, but I told him, I know it's big and bulky, but that's one of the things that's going with us. I mean, you can purify so much water with that tool. It's not even funny. But I told him,
it's kind of cradles in itself, so it's not too big. You could always use it as a canister to move stuff. True.
Like pack other stuff in there.
Yeah, inside of it, yeah.
But it's a great tool. The live chats. It's a great tool to, purify water, and always make sure that your collection container is also clean, because if you just purified your water and you put it into a container that's not clean, that doesn't make much sense. So sanitizing your jars, things like that, in the hot water is definitely going to ensure that you have a clean drinking vessel as well as clean water. So yeah, I loved that scene with Monroe and Ginger. I mean, just
we were talking about that scene before we went on.
Yeah,
that was so funny.
Yeah, and then when Chappie's, did you got a crush on Ginger, basically, and then they go into the little place bar and Mr. Serious Vergis,
take it outside.
Boy, get out of here. That's total Phil. So, yeah. Alrighty. So Erica's chapter, she is Star comes back from collecting water, and they're drying the bear and fish meat. And such an important skill to have, to know what to do with meat, that, because so many people are like, I'll go out and shoot a deer. Well, what are you going to do with the deer when you don't have a freezer? You don't have a way, and it's not wintertime where you're at or whatever. So knowing what to do with that meat is important. Stocking salt, kosher salt, is really, really important, because the fattier a meat is, the harder it's going to be to dry it out. And then the shelf life is going to be even shorter. So more fat equals smaller shelf life, harder to do with a flame. So having a freeze dryer or a dehydrator, really, really great tools, as long as you have the power to run them in that SHTF situation. If worse comes to worse, you got to think, cut your meat into very thin strips. There's lots of books on it, lots of Native American books on this. And then you put them over racks over a very low fire. You can even make smokehouses. You can make smokehouses out of logs. So very, very easy to do, but it does take time, and it does take a little bit of security, because you can't be doing this while you're on the move. You got to actually set up a camp and preserve that meat for a little bit. But every bit worth your time. Food shortages are on the horizon. I've been talking about, for years, how we've had these just very intense weather anomalies on our cornfields, on our wheat fields. The staples, the stuff we have in storage, those amounts are getting less and less and less. The USDA did report that we're going to have good plant numbers, but with the lack of fertilizer and the lack of pest control, we've been looking at, just so many more weeds are growing with those plants. So you got to worry about the harvesters and all of that being able to work properly because they don't have like the weed killer to put down on everything anymore. I am a little bit concerned, to say the least. So now is the time to make sure that you have kind of shored yourself up. Any money that you spend on food now is going to be worth it later. Buy canned goods. You're going to eat it eventually anyway. So why not just buy extra now? Because I guarantee it's going to be cheaper today than it's going to be in 6 months. So any money that you spend on it now is definitely worth what it's going to, you're making an investment, basically. Think of it that way. Because in 6 months from now, it's going to be even a bit more expensive if you can find it. So I hate to I don't want to be like a fear monger or anything like that, but the signs really are there. We've been having crazy, crazy weather anomalies for years. And now we just added on human input into, stopping supply chains, going to wars, things like that. We just made it astronomically worse. I guess we did it, but certain things happened that made it much worse. We're going to put it that way.
Instead of coming together to help fight and make things better, it seems like everybody's fracturing off to make things worse.
Right? That's what I'm saying. So it's really going to be up to you to grow. I mean, I'm concerned because where I'm at, like with this hot year, there's no way we're growing stuff out there. Where would I get the water from if we didn't have the utilities and stuff like that? Now, obviously, I have alternate plans, but like, if you don't, you better get some. You better really think about what that means to you and your household, how that's going to look when things start going down. And storing more and having that on hand is not going to be a bad thing, I can guarantee you. And then community. When times get really tough like that, for example, look at post 9/11, the country could actually come back together, stand for something together. So, and it's funny because Duff is the one who is like, we've never gone like Mad Max in any kind of like severe struggle that we've had before as a nation. We've never gone like total dog eat dog.
Total, right?
Right? Yeah. Like the Great Depression was horrific and the Dust Bowl and all that kind of stuff. But we never resorted to killing each other over food. We've always been able to come together. So hopefully that would be what would happen in the future. And I really love that take on it. Like, talk about an optimistic take. All right. And then speaking of Mr. Duff, he comes in as our rescuer.
Such a helpful guy.
Right? He's going to take him to the happy camp where everything is going to be so good.
We remember seeing your mom. She just came in. Come on over and check in. We'll show you.
Yeah, she's already there.
Yeah.
Just come on in. So, trust or not to trust, do you have the option? They were heavily out-armed, right? Like, do you have the option to not go?
Was it covered about chain links and army guys or something?
Right? Yeah, semi-automatic or automatic weapons because they're working for National Guard and things like that. You're standing there with your .22 that's going to hunt small animals or something, and a lot of people listening are probably like, "Yeah, well, I'm standing there with a lot more than that," and maybe. But like, is that the stand you want to, is that the stand you want to make? I don't know. I can't really say either way because, there's it's obvious from my material which way I'd go with it. So, and then what do you do with the pets? Post-apocalyptic. This is a huge question. My new German Shepherd, he will drink water from anywhere, which I love because I've always had these dainty dogs who are like, oh, I can't drink water out of your hands. And you're like, you're dying on the trail of thirst. Drink the water. And then, no. But he'll drink water anywhere. He eats bugs and all kinds of stuff.
Yeah.
I don't deter him because, if something were to happen, like, eat the bugs, dude. Because,
My dog thinks that the fried worms on the sidewalk are like,
the delicacies.
perfect. Yeah.
Mhm.
Oh, yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yep.
So, stocking that kind of stuff for today, for tomorrow, being able to dehydrate things for the chickens and stuff like that, your scraps that you have now so you can save them for later kind of deal. I love having my chickens for that reason. They eat all of our scraps, but I've got a question, like, would we have any scraps come that time? What do we do?
Yeah.
And Brock's like, well, we could just open up the cage. Yeah, we could, but then those birds are going to be jumping into other people's yards, that kind of thing. Like,
And every predator is going to be more hungry too.
right? Yeah. So it's a big question that you guys really, really need to think about if you have animals. Lisa Goodwin does some great stuff on prepping with you have horses and all the considerations that you have to make with those animals. And keep in mind, as people get more hungry, then your animals that are big animals like that, even a horse, is going to have a target on it.
Yeah, you might not want to listen to Dale's suggestions.
Yeah. So, well, that's chapter one of my book. When the horse goes down, it's like, well, the horse got shot. That sucks.
Well, that's
but
different.
Let's eat the horse. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, I mean, we're the only country really that doesn't, around the world. Most other countries do. But we love our horses. Okay. And then no firearms allowed once you come in. It's that way. Whether you're going into the Superdome when it was Katrina or whatever. They don't want people armed in there, right? I mean, it would just be even catastrophically worse.
It's so much safer without.
Because it's so much.
Gun-free zones.
Yeah, and there was firearms in there anyway. They did get in there. So, there was a gun ban and there was a gun in there. Oh, wow. It's funny when that happens. So, is that all you can defend yourself with is a firearm? If that's all you can defend yourself with, you better get to work right now. Come see me at prepper camp. I'll teach you some good stuff. So, yeah, because that's a big problem. You need to be able to defend yourself without a firearm and without a weapon at all, as best you can. So the law of large numbers are there. I'm 5 foot nothing, 100 nothing. So I don't have any illusions about, a bigger opponent. But you can bet I'm going to go down fighting. There is no question there. All right, then we go into Swenson's party. So no huge survival lessons here. TJ's super agitated. Yuri's not helping at all. And I love during our live show, I wish everybody could have seen the camera during the live show because I was like, so, Ryan, do you think that Yuri and Sergey are going to, knock off TJ and take over? And Doug's like flipping me the bird on the video. He's all like angry. And Ryan's like, no, I think they're too dumb, and although they're really strong, and they fall for those paunch women, is what he said. So definitely his character not helping. But TJ kind of has this soft spot for Susan, right? Even though he's like a horrible individual, he kind of has this soft spot, and then he's all pouty. He leaves outside, and the child comes up. And it's obvious that her father is doing nefarious things, and TJ, takes care of the child. So even TJ has those moments when you're like, oh, he's not so bad after all. And then you just remember.
Yeah, no, I'm not running out and buying a TJ for president
t-shirt. Yeah, see, Chen, he's not so bad. He's taking care of the kids. He's a really nice guy.
Sure cracked that whip with the dad, though.
Right? And then when little Margaret's kicking him, and he just like, yeah, kick him again. Yeah, I love that. All right, Burgess, the boys are getting cleaned up for the potluck. So that was a fun little scene to put together there. And it's this community canning project. So very cool in my this post-apocalyptic vision, of where people would actually come back together again. And people used to do this. Used to have barn raising parties.
Yeah,
right? So you have all this product to can and put away and take care of all this work that needs to be done. And people come together as communities to do it together. One of the social media, I think has just ripped away our communities. Because you don't need to go out into the community to get that connection to people. Yet many people are very, very far away from you, so it's not like you could just go and hang out with them and do your canning together. So I don't know. Even though it's brought us together so much, I think it's really, really isolated us as well. And
well, it's kind of like you and I actually met in person, but
right.
I think the cases of that, like the number of people that never meet and go like all keyboard crazy,
yep,
are higher than the actual friendships that like real world friendships that get generated out of it.
I'm extremely weird for as far as that goes, because I've met like Dale and Lisa. I drove to Colorado to meet them. I've stayed at their house before, I've met a lot. Ellen came here to visit me, and she was talking about, well, can I just get a hotel room near you? And I'm like, what? Like, come on, it's so far away from my house. We got extra room, And so, yeah, I think it's important to really take the time. Even Survivor Jane was like, don't be one of those people that says you're going to come meet me and you never do.
That's how I met her was on social media.
Got you.
And now we're great friends.
Yep.
But I think that the Prepper Broadcasting Network is really good at bringing people together, because a lot of the people are actual friends. Friendships come out of that network.
It's true.
Yeah.
That you're like, oh, I'm in that area too.
Yeah.
I'm in that area too. Let's get together.
There's a bunch of people that are friendly that actually came out of that network.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Yeah. Okay, so
kudos to the PBN.
Yeah, I like that. James, way to go. Pumping our communities. All right, so disaster strikes, the earthquakes start. When earthquakes happen, I have earthquake safety as well in my learning tab, so you can go check that out. But you want to be in a stable area, under a desk, under something that's going to block you if stuff starts falling down, or get outside, right? So they're trying to secure...
I'm voting for the wine cellar.
Yeah.
Going back.
Oh, no.
The OG.
No underground. Oh, my gosh. Oh, no. So, I'm reading Bitter End again, and like some of the... I'm like, no, I couldn't do that. Nope, no underground. So, these stable areas, and then flooding, get to high ground. So, no, stand there, take pictures of it with your cell phone. This just amazes me that we're so captivated as human beings that we're just like, oh, I'm just going to stand here and stare at it for a while before I realize that I need to get my butt out of here, So get yourself to safety and then worry about taking pictures or whatever. So Erica arrives at the Northern Happy Camp, and they're waking up in the morning and she's like, this isn't right. Like, this isn't good. This isn't cool. And Vince is like, oh, let's just not make waves. Right. So it shows you like the yin and the yang there of like the people that are going to be like, unruly. And the people are going to be like, oh, come on. And that's why you used to always tease me. I'm never getting arrested with you. You'll get us into so much trouble.
You think?
Oh, I do.
Sarah, shut up. That's all I'm going to be saying the whole time. Sarah, shut up.
That's funny because the people I did martial arts with, they agreed with that a lot of times.
That's probably what I kept saying too when I was reading the book.
You did, actually.
Sarah, Erica needs to shut up.
I'm like, dude, she needs to speak up and stand up for the rights, man, of the people. Who's going to do it? Mm-hmm. So once you're in a government center like that, controlled area like that, your options are going to get fewer and fewer and fewer. And this is not just fiction story, guys. We have climate refugees in mad numbers right now. Look at the border and whatnot. And they have people in those plexiglass rooms in the Mylar sleeping bags, like lined up like sardines. Once you're in there, what's your options?
Yeah, I'll just take my dog and my horse and leave.
Right? Yeah. No, I'm done. And then really the background to this whole beginning process with them is the idea of national triage. And if we had disaster on that level, you'd have to do national triage. Because you can't just start throwing resources everywhere, And that's if, the people that work for rescue and whatnot, typically the disaster's in one area, so the rescuers from the other areas can come help. But if everybody's hit, then are they going to want to go help somebody else? No, they're going to stay home and help their own people. Right? So, this is how it lays. This is always the thought that's on my mind of what if we have this large scale incident. So, and nothing like that's really happened so far. It's always localized. And then trust or not trust with the dog, right? They can tell you anything they want at any time. It's just a matter of do you believe it or not. Oh, this is fact. This is fact, right? Is it? Who's writing those facts? So, somebody's wrote the encyclopedias. Somebody's written
fact is
every bit of information.
Like a 4-letter word now.
Exactly. Somebody's written every bit of information that we hear. So, it's always who's get different opinions. Encyclopedias from the past, 3/4 of them or something were fiction, They would write gorillas. People had never really seen gorillas, but they wrote it in the encyclopedia. It's very funny to read some of them from the past. So we're no better. We're not any better today. So we have a little bit more instrumentation and our technology is a little bit better. But, things we're going to learn in the future will make today seem like we were all, cavemen. It's true. So unless, that cataclysm hits and then we're like, wow, we were so advanced back then. Right?
We're so advanced.
Or were we? I was thinking today about how many I was thinking about how many devices I'm always plugging in. I got to plug my phone back in to charge. I got my laptop. I got my toothbrush plugs into the wall. My grandparents, they never had, right? They weren't worried about having their cell phone charged and the this and the that, and everything's got a battery and everything's stuck. Yeah, it's just crazy. All right, Swenson's party. This is supposed to be his feel-good party, right? And now he's just getting drunk. His buddies are starting to tease him. And so he gets all, I call it pissy pants. And he's out. So... And then Laudner comes out to console him. Good old Laudner. And, he's feeling the pressures of this huge leadership role that he just kind of bounced into. And it's definitely, I've done a lot of research just recently on a lot of, emperors, Roman Caesars and things like that. And the pressure of being in that position, especially if you're ruling with an iron hand, because you have to maintain that fear level in order for people to still respect you, which becomes more and more difficult because people will eventually be like, yeah, we don't care, right? We're going to stand up even though we might die because, we're dying anyway, right? So a lot of these people go crazy. They're always worried about attacks from other people on them to take their position. And in a post-apocalyptic event, or in this big disaster event, these small leaders can rise to big power really quickly. So that's, they're going to have some psychiatric problems as well, just from the amount of pressure that you're under. So, we all need to have a little concern for TJ at this point and hope that his psychological status improves. That is highly sarcastic. But no, the facts behind the fiction is that like it's a huge deal. Leadership can take a huge toll on you. I got examples, but we're not going into current events.
You don't want to get fact checked.
Yeah, no, we're good with that. All right, so Vergis, he's evacuating the supplies from his house, centrally locating all the supplies. So this is something I urge everybody to think about now. If you're thinking about helping community, that kind of thing. Does your community have a food bank? Would that be a good place to centrally locate supplies? Is that really going to jive with everyone? I know it definitely wouldn't jive here in Texas. Everybody be like, yep, I'm free. I'm doing my own thing. So, you know, it's cool, but, I don't know. This has been a question that I've been really trying to deal with lately. Johnny Jacks had a good solution that, you know, everybody keeps their own supplies. You're making your own supplies. You're doing your own thing. And then you take the supplies to a centrally located area to help distribute them to the people that don't have enough, kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
So that would be ideal.
Kind of like a food bank.
Right. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
So that would be ideal. But like, when do you get to the point where you're like, am I producing enough for my group? And can I give some over, kind of thing? And then people are going to be like, well, you should give it anyway because everybody's entitled to it, even though you were the one stocking it and preparing. And so it's going to get really dicey on that note. I can tell you that there'll be some big arguments there. But I really wanted to do the idea of this, you know, at this camp, it was the humans helping the humans. Because Vergis is having this just gigantic moral dilemma, you know, of just wanting to exist. And the pressures that he's feeling from, like, having to do this job of rounding people up, you know, versus just being able to live and survive. And the national triage topic comes up again, of course, because, I mean, nobody came to help him. Nobody came to warn him because they know they couldn't help if they wanted to. And that's why I say the climate refugee situation is happening right now. There are countries destabilizing. There's countries that are going to be underwater soon. We've seen the massive movement of people in Europe and, you know, how that kind of like destabilized the countries. And this could actually be a war tactic as well, like push a whole bunch of people towards that country so that
overwhelm.
Yeah, right. And different countries have invaded other countries this way. They just send like all of their population in there to take it over. So as much as we want to be accepting of everyone and try to help everyone, we also have to think like, what will that do to our society as a whole? Is that really going to like just crash the system that we're working under, or is that going to add and enrich the mix? I mean, we all know we're kind of in that dilemma right now in the United States.
But what's the tipping point?
Right. Yeah, when is too much?
It's
too
the
much?
whole thing about putting your own mask on before you help your neighbor on the airplane, or put your own life vest on first, and don't just jump in.
Or the centrally located supplies, right? Help yourself first before you're given to help somebody else.
So
yeah, it is definitely going to be a question that ethically many of us will have to deal with in the future. All right, guys. Well, that was the show for today. You can always head on over to www.changingearthseries.com. Check out all the goodies I have for you at the membership. All of the information from the past shows is in the learning tab. If you want to go by the show, you want to go through the show by show, you can subscribe for free and access the archives. So many materials over there. Of course, the audio dramas over there, the audio drama audio playlist, and I just keep racking up goodies for you guys over there. So check it out. Love the feedback. Thank you so much for reaching out to me, Miss Garden Girl, regarding the novels and everything. It's been so
like our new reporter in the field.
Yeah, I know. Love it. This is so much fun. it's always so much fun to go down the adventure with my audience. That I love it as a creator to see people, get enveloped by the stories. It's worth more money than I could possibly even earn. So love that. But thank you very much for all your guys' feedback. Always appreciate you listening. And until next time, remember, dream,
survive,
thrive.